Greetings, everyone. All right, so I know I spoke recently about getting more active on YouTube, so taking my own medicine, here I am. I want to discuss some startling information I discovered recently about the earthquakes off the Vancouver Island coast. Uh, I've been connecting a few dots and I've been contacting a few people I know internationally to get some additional sources and perspectives as to what I've revealed recently. So I came across a couple links today. I'm going to post these links in the chat, and I will have them for anybody that wishes to have them. The first link I came across was this link. No, that's not the link. So you can't just copy a link from Facebook, or you get this ridiculously long link, which I know is full of all sorts of code, which is defining this and that and what people can see. So anyway, here is the link. In this article, they're discussing Canada installs Chinese underwater monitoring devices next to U.S. nuclear submarine base. This is right in the Juan de Fuca. This is right where those 3 earthquakes happened yesterday in short succession to one another. So the article goes on to state that the instruments, which use high-tech sensors to monitor the underwater environment, are connected to the Ocean Network Canada, ONC, a grid of marine observatories stretching from Northeast Pacific to the Arctic. While the network is operated by the University of Victoria in British Columbia, its 4 new additions are the property of the Sanya Institute of Deep Sea Science and Engineering, a unit of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, which has also developed and built them. Underwater station could be a game changer, scientist says. It goes on to another link here. The devices were placed on the Endeavour segment of the Juan de Fuca Ridge, remote controlled by submersible owned by the Canadian Coast Guard. So I've long been speaking to people about geoengineering and terraforming is real. These earthquakes are by design. It doesn't take a genius to connect these dots here. Obviously, in my humble opinion, from the independent journalism that I continue to document, the Chinese and Canadian governments have been working together for quite a while. And what better way than to move forward with something like this? So, naturally, being startled by this a little bit, I had one of my Canadian friends look into some Canadian media to discover, okay, how credible is this source? This source of this first link is I believe it's some type of Herald, the South China Morning Post. So naturally, what I do when I look into these stories is I compare multiple sources of media, which is what any good independent journalist does. And I discovered this link from her. She found additional information about this, and this is right today. Wait a minute, where is the post? Okay, so my friend also reports that posts are straight up vanishing from the Facebook that I see. I took her a snapshot of what I see on my Facebook, and then she says, no, I can't see that. So clearly I'm being censored again. Here's the second link. Now, this is today, and this is out of the CBC. Federal government announces new monitoring of vessel noise impacts on endangered whales. The article goes on to discuss the orcas. The federal government says it will monitor underwater ship noise in British Columbia's Salish Sea to help develop measures to support the recovery of endangered resident killer whales. So this is almost like a joke to me. What a whale of a story, right, everybody? I mean, come on now. It's rather ridiculous how there is always this plausible deniability that is accompanied with these types of things. So, given the seismic events that happened off the Vancouver coast last night, it's pretty rare to see 6.5 earthquakes in a trifecta in that short of time. And then today I discover this link about how the Canadian federal government is working with the Chinese, but it's only Chinese media that's claiming they're working with the Chinese. The Canadian media is not revealing anything about them collaborating with the Chinese. installing these monitoring devices in the Juan de Fuca subduction zone, possibly the most unstable spot underwater right now along any fault line for earthquakes. That's just what I've been trying to tell people for the longest time. Open your brainwashed minds and wrap your heads around the idea that these events are not natural. These earthquakes and these hurricanes and this climate, it's not natural. This is by design. And if you begin to research the sciences thereof, you will see just how feasible this actually is. This is happening right now. We as civilian people in America are being attacked by poison in our water, by poison in our food, by poison in the air via geoengineering, by weather manipulation, hurricanes, droughts, floods, lightning, fires, earthquakes. And civilian people are indoctrinated from birth into believing that these events are natural. And there's many examples of it. There's movies, there's media, there's music, there's songs about it. It's in religion. It's always says the Lord is the one that's moving the earth and doing all of these things. You're all programmed to believe that this is natural, and it is not. Civilian people are all programmed into believing this. And the highest level at the top military brass, they're not educated to believe this via public school. They know the truth because they're working for it. It's truly astounding. It's these articles I'm coming across, today would be, nothing big, nothing unnatural to the normal person, but to someone like me who has, taken the time to research a lot of these more conspiratorial topics and connect the overwhelming amount of dots. It's plain to see the Chinese are going to move in at some point if they have not already. They're buying up more swaths of land within the continental United States every day. They are buying up more and more of it. So when everyone talks about this national debt, I can only wonder, it's probably to China. And the civilian people are going to become slaves to the Chinese unless something happens like very soon. Because the civilian people are alone in this. They are alone. They are born and bred to be divided and to be easily controlled and conformed. For the civilian people to unite and end this is going to take a miracle. I used to think it was more possible, a couple years ago when I was still somewhat new to researching these topics. And in the past 7, 8 years, I've just learned it is truly going to take a miracle because no one cares. No one has the time. No one can wrap their brainwashed mind around the idea that this is unnatural until it affects them, perhaps. Strangefoot, welcome to the chat. I'm just here taking a bit of my own medicine, stepping up on YouTube again. I'm not sure if you can see the links I posted in the chat here, but it's becoming plain to see to me that international forces are conspiring against the United States and not against the United States government because they've sold us out as civilian people. The civilian people have been sold out by the federal government. Our veterans who fought and died for the federal government are being sold out. And that's evident recently because Congress denied the veterans' health care bill. It's fucking mutiny. It's betrayal. And all I can do about it is speak. I've tried to do what I can with the company. I'm back at the lab now. I hope to get something done this week. As I said, company work has just, it's been stymied. There's only so much I can do alone. And everyone who's come into this company, I honestly believe, has been targeted and has been dealt complications in their life that would seem natural. I have a meeting with my colleagues in just 2 hours, and I'm going to be very direct and forward with them, gentlemen, that time is running out on this company. Time is running out on this ideal. If you truly value this company, our ideals, what we stand for, what we want to put out there, not in the form of money or even energy, but education itself, then we all need to step up our efforts more in regards to fundraising, in regards to everything that this company stands for, because our time is running out and I cannot seem to get enough interest, even though I know that I have the plan. As the CEO of this company, I have the billion-dollar ideas. I have the technology. I just need the help to construct it, to get proof of concept. I can prove the concept right now via physics, science, and our CTO, our engineer, is an academic out of Stanford, and he believes in this company. He believes in these ideals. But he too finds that getting any interest in this is you're fighting an uphill battle. Yes, that's another thing. They're censoring me. Guaranteed, everybody. I just posted recently about how they censored my YouTube video on the Podesta emails revealing zero-point technology and how it's been suppressed. I just had a Canadian friend of mine today, longtime friend who I trust, tell me that they cannot see the things that I see on my timeline. I took a snapshot of my timeline on Facebook, shared it to them, and they said, I don't see that. That's not what I see right now. So they are absolutely censoring me. They've censored me before. Facebook deleted my past 2 accounts on copyright grounds of my own art. I couldn't contest it. It wasn't until I became a CEO, a business owner, that I was able to prove my identity and say, you will get sued if you don't release my account. And they did. Oh, it's getting closer. It's getting closer and closer to, I think, that tipping point for me. The rodent coil, I have several rodent coils that have been tested. Yes, they can accomplish anti-gravity. They can increase the efficiency of many electrical devices. And in some of the more exotic concepts we have explored in our research and development, you are branching out into quantum technology. But I speak this terminology to possible investors in our pitch to investors, and they're instantly turned off because they're invested in oil, because they're invested in all of these fossil fuels and detrimental forms of electricity. So I remain mired. So all I can do is continue my independent journalism, is continue sharing the articles that come across my wire and give you my perspective on them, which I find is mostly unique among independent journalists. Maybe Jesse Ventura would possibly get on board with some of the ideas and theories that I throw around. However, there is credibility to it. It's not just one source of media. I'm not the person that believes everything that they see on the internet. I compare many sources of media, independent, alternative, and mainstream. And I look for, history. I look for other sources of this media. And I find more and more that all of these sources of media each have their own national spin on it. They each have their own editors. And that's the biggest fallacy of mainstream media, is that nothing makes the nightly news that isn't already scripted and hasn't been reviewed by their editors to say, okay, yeah, we can't publish this. I knew a gentleman who was out of Creme 2 News recently here in Spokane. I think his name was Rashard Hartnett. And I was trying to share some of the media with him about the Air Force poisoning the water here. And this was before the big story broke, and they actually said, okay, yes, the water is bad, and we need to inform the people that they need to stop drinking the water. And he straight up told me that there's only so much we can, broadcast on the nightly news because of our editors. And I said, oh, I understand that. But in just a matter of months, it's going to become inevitable. And it was. Just a matter of months later, all the local news was covering, yes, this is big. I got the orange notice on my fucking doorknob saying there's a 48-hour notice, possibly longer, on the water. Don't drink the water, but you're okay to bathe in it, right? Fuck. People are so stupid. The television tells you don't drink the water, but you can bathe in it, and it's safe. It's not safe. It affects the cardiovascular system. It affects your muscles. It affects your mind. And it honestly does, everyone. Why do you think there's so many chemicals in every bottle of shampoo? There's so many chemicals in every bottle of conditioner. And it's all there. They have to put it there for you to see. But they trick you from the moment of birth into believing that it's not happening. Well, it's very rewarding to know that I assisted in any type of awakening. In the first video I made here on YouTube, I said if I can even reach one person, if I can touch one mind and begin to get them to think for themselves, then this was all worthwhile. So thank you for confirming that face value and letting me know that I was at least part of that journey. That's that's one of my biggest goals of all, and it's I'm a bit overwhelmed at the moment to know. So again, thank you. Um, so yeah, just to I don't want to ramble too long today. I just want to state that these recent articles, I will post them again in the chat for anyone interested. Yes, I surely hope so, because we are fighting and trying. This company, for the past 3 years, has fought tooth and nail against all adversity. We've bootstrapped ourselves. We're still trying to get through to that next level, but we are trying, and I remain motivated. So yeah, just to recap the video here, the first link about the earthquakes, because I know that's what's in the title here. Why is it not letting me post it? Oh, that's right, because I copied it from the chat. And just like Facebook, there's all this extra code in every link that you copy, unless you go to the exact link itself. And even then, there's just this extra amount of unnecessary code that they use to monitor you and your device. I can confirm this knowing simple CSS. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. But there's the first link in the chat discussing how the CBC has begun this installation in the Juan de Fuca and in other marine installations along the British Columbia coast and Vancouver Island, which was recently affected by 3 magnitude 6.5 earthquakes, an extremely rare event. I think that everyone is downplaying that event. In my research of seismic activity, this is a significant event, and this is extremely rare. So this comes out of Canadian media. As I said, there's no mention of the Chinese being involved with this at all. But the first link I came across today was this out of the South China Morning Post. Canada installs Chinese underwater monitoring devices next to U.S. nuclear submarine base. So, I mean, this is plausible deniability. If it was truly the Chinese that were trying to install this device next to a U.S. naval base, I'm sure the Navy would step in and say, no, you can't do that. Or at least it would seem that they would. But once you involve a third party, such as Canada, and you develop a cover story, a whale of a cover story, I might add, which the CBC says it's to monitor the whales. I mean, it's absolutely fucking absurd to me how so many people lack integrity and intelligence and desire for the truth and what's really going on the greater, consciousness plane of this planet. But it's plainly clear to me to see that this is bad. This is dangerous. The Chinese are making active moves to cause earthquakes along the coast, and the civilian people will think it's natural. They won't even have any idea that China has already invaded the United States and that they have been slaves to a communist system for 250 years. And I, as an independent journalist, I just remain astounded. But those are the articles today. That's what I see. That's what I've done a wealth of research on. And it's just so plainly clear and evident to me that this is what's happening. So I hope to make more videos soon. I hope you all might take a little bit of what I said to heart today. Look into this, look into the research, look into the logistics of this, look into where these devices are being placed. They're right along the most delicate fault lines along the United States coast. Why would they want to install them there? I don't think that area would be heavily populated by these whales, these orcas. I honestly do not believe that. And I know that it's a cover story. and that many people are going to believe it. They're going to buy right into it. So uh, I'm going to return to my business now. I felt the need to get this out here today. I hope some people might check it out, see what's going on. And thank you all for the support again. Thank you, Strangefoot, Face Value, Polar Bear Stare, for coming into the chat, speaking up, and you'll see me again soon, unless something happens. I've already told everybody I know. The moment I change, the moment you don't see the fire in my eyes anymore, the moment you know that either I don't exist anymore or I've become something else, you knew what happened to me. What's important is the message. Just get the message out there. So thank you all so much. Hope to talk to you again soon. Be awake, be aware, be smart, and think for yourselves. And be well.